technically have it also on my computer, but I think I did it correctly this time.
We'll have to. Twitch does have a lag, so we have to wait to see. Oh, and I see.
Yeah.
We'll have to. Twitch does have a lag, so we have to wait to see. Yep.
Well, but it's going.
We are on Twitch. Yes.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Hey, everybody, we're live. Now I know, and now all we have to do is erase the other settings and stuff that I had so I don't do it wrong later on. But yeah, we are here doing actually hello Teacup Glitter Infested. The stream did kind of break, but it was because I broke it. So we fixed it though, and we're now over on my other channel, the Eloy the Saint on YouTube, but also on our brand new Nerd Eye Twitch channel. We are actually, me and Craig, because me and Craig are very good friends in the gaming industry, and he's played my games, I've played his games. It's a lot of fun. So but what we decided to do was we were like, well, let's work together on a Twitch channel. We can help promote both of our games, because he makes games, I make games all around. So that is actually the really fun part. And now the Twitch channel is going to be over at nerd_I. So not just Nerd Eye by itself, it's nerd_I for the channel itself, but you can go follow us over there because you can't subscribe yet. But if you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and just subscribe. You can subscribe on the YouTube. Go ahead. But
we are 100 followers on Twitch.
That's awesome.
Triple digits.
Now, for people who might be here because of me, tell them about you and your games, and like what games have you come out with? What you been doing?
Sure. I'm Craig Campbell. I'm the owner of Nerdburger Games, which basically means that I am Nerdburger Games, because it's like me and a whole bunch of talented freelancers that come in to do the things that I can't do. Or don't want to do. And I've made games like Murders and Acquisitions, Capers with a bunch of supplements and things for that. A little GM-less horror game called Die Laughing. And I just had a Kickstarter for Good Strong Hands, which is kind of the never-ending story, the RPG, but with the serial numbers filed off. It's a fantasy game with all sorts of fun. Very light kind of fanciful fantasy kind of stuff, but with like some seething darkness and corruption, and like the world is going to end and you have to save it. And I'm at Nerdburger Craig on Twitter, as it says on the screen there. I do a whole bunch of stuff, and I've worked for Eloy. I wrote some stuff for the PIP system for one of the primers a while back. So
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, that was being organized by one of your freelancers.
Crystal is the she's the
working
game
with Carol, I think. Crystal,
yeah.
Right, Crystal.
I was gonna say Crystal's the game line developer for that. So essentially, I started it going, and then I said, "Do your thing, Crystal." So she's done a ton of stuff, and I didn't even know about it. So
yeah, she hired me.
Hired. Great choice.
for fans of mine that are watching this live or on YouTube later, Eloy, who are you? What do you do? What did you make?
Oh wow. I have actually been making games for, I guess I'm going on 12 years now. It was 12 years this month, actually, is when I released my very first game in 2008. Oh God, I feel so old. But no, my very first game was called Apocalypse Prevention Inc. I came out with Ninja Crusade after that. After that was Part-Time Gods. That's the big one. That's my big one. And oh man, it's making games is great. And I've made a bunch of other games. I make the PIP system, obviously, and we use that for Mermaid Adventures, Infestation. A Kid's Guide to Monster Hunting is coming out soon. I've also written Sins of the Father, and I've worked on a bunch of other people's games. But what I've been wanting to do more recently is get more into doing more online gaming. And that's why when I posted about that, Craig was like, "Oh, well, we should do it together. Let's do that together." And I'm like, "Oh, that sounds good. It means I don't have to like do everything because I used to have a podcast, and there's a reason why I no longer have a podcast, because when you're one person and you're dealing with scheduling and editing and recording and making sure everything happens, and on top of that, doing your own game company, it's a lot. So
yeah.
and I'm actually going to be putting those up on my YouTube channel pretty soon here, because I have those old recordings, but they're just sitting on my hard drive. You can't get them anymore because that website went away a long time ago. But they're like way out, like they're like dated. You know, it's like, I'm talking about like, I've been in the gaming industry for about 2 years now, and it's like, oh my God. But they're fun. They're fun to listen to. So I think it's going to be fun to put them up there.
So Eloy, what is this channel going to be about? What are we going to do? Let's play this like an interview. We'll just trade interview questions.
Yeah, let's do that. So as far as I know, this channel is going to be where me and you will occasionally jump on here and have fun chats. We can bring in guests and we can do interviews. We can do whatever we want because we can, and we said so. But we're also going to be doing some actual plays, and like that's a big deal for me, because I have occasionally done actual plays, but like nothing super structured. So I'm excited to jump in and have something structured. So that's going to be the fun part. So starting, what is it, the 18th? So not this week, but the week after is when I'm going to start on Wednesdays doing an AMP, which is also one of my games that I didn't mention. AMP Year One, that's my Supers RPG. I'm actually going to be running. We're gonna do like a short, like 4 episode run, and then we're gonna probably take a break for the holidays, and then come back in the new year. So that's the plan. And I'm going to be running AMP because AMP Year 5, the game line was always planned to be a 5-book event, and AMP Year 5 will likely be hitting, Kickstarter in the new year. It was supposed to be this year, but I feel bad asking people for money this year because I know I'm low on money, so I assume other people are low on money. But also just like we didn't do anything in Third Eye Games for like, let me see, like March to about August. I was like, everybody, we ain't doing nothing. Just go do your own thing. We're not releasing anything. We're not working on anything. So we're just kind of now just really getting back into the flow of things. So knowing that, we'll be able to jump into 2021 and be able to get that last book for AMP out, which is going to be cool because not only are we doing the final book that if you already own the other books, then you can just buy this last book. But we're actually going to be having a book where everything is just in one book, and it's going to be like 700 pages. It's going to be wonderful. I can't wait.
Oh boy.
It's going to be huge. But if you really just want the giant AMP tome, it'll be there for you.
Is that what they call the omnibus edition?
Yes.
Here's everything in a gigantic brick of game.
And I could just be like, well, here's a tier where you can just buy all 5 books, but like I'm going to take everything from the source books and throw it all in there as well. Like everything is going to be in just one massive book that'll sell for like, I don't know. I think I did the math. It was going to be like $110 for this book. But it gets you everything if you want it though.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Don't quote me on that price. It might be more, might be less. I don't know, but it's somewhere around there, I think. So what are you going to be doing on this channel though, Craig?
Oh, I'm going to be running a game for a little bit too, like we talked about. Like the plan here is to kind of do like a mini season. This is a test run for Eloy and I, right, to kind of figure this thing out. So he's going to do his 4 games. I'm going to do 4 games on Saturday afternoons starting at 1 p.m. Eastern, where I'm going to run Good Strong Hands, which is the game I was talking about. That's sort of, it's inspired by Dark Crystal and Labyrinth and Willow and the Neverending Story.
I did get to play in it, and I got to play in a session that you ran for the Kickstarter, and it was a lot of fun. I very much enjoyed it.
And that ended up being titled Wishes and Waffles. If you recall the story, Eloy.
That makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense.
And yeah, it's on the Nerdburger Games YouTube channel, so you can watch it. And what I'm doing is I'm challenging myself with this. What I've got together 4 players. They're putting their characters together right now. They have decided on a basic. They told me what the story what story they wanted to play. Well, like, here's the basic hook of the
Oh,
thing that they
okay.
need to do that's going to save the world or fight the void or do whatever.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm going to prepare. We are going to improvise the entire story beginning to end, and I'm going to take suggestions from the audience and from the players themselves. So when I say, like, okay, I need a villain's name, blah blah blah, I need what's this character up to, I'm going to ask people to tell me what that is, and we're going to integrate that into the story. I'm going to improvise the whole thing. I'm not going to plan anything other than just knowing what the characters are, and knowing what the basic concept is, and just like all of the kind of inherent planning that's in my brain because I designed the game. So there's a lot of things that I know are kind of like, well, these are things you can use in the game. I've got that knowledge, but it's going to be otherwise very, very improvised.
That's a great strat. I think I'm going to steal that, and I'm going to also do that. That was always the plan as well, and I didn't just steal that right now. No,
I didn't want to reveal it until the episode.
No, I think I'm going to do that though, because that sounds like a lot of fun.
I'm hoping that'll bring some viewers in, because it will be interactive. Like, a lot of Twitch channels, they do interactive stuff, and sometimes it has to do with, like, if you make donations, you can give bonuses to players to do stuff, and we're not an affiliate status kind of thing, so we don't have any of that stuff in place, and I'm not even sure how much we're going to mess around with the money stuff.
I mean, but if you guys want to send us money, I'm just saying.
The interactivity is there. So, like, the idea of almost treating this, like, I have a background in improvisation. I've done I've taken improv classes. I've taught improv. I've done street theater. I've worked at I've done character work at Renaissance fairs. So, like, the idea of, like, this is basically going to be a long form improv show with where you've got audience suggestions at various points throughout the story that everybody has to integrate. And I even have an old Ren Fair friend of mine, who's one of the players, who, like, I was like, oh, I got Allie on board. This is great, because, like, I know, like, I think the other players seem like they're up for it as well, but I know Allie is. So I know she's going to be like if I can't think of something, if nobody offers a suggestion, Allie will throw something at me, and I'll be like, oh, okay, well, here we go, because she will challenge me with that stuff.
Yeah,
so it'll be fun.
I'm actually bringing in from my game. I'm bringing in a player who I play with here, like from my home group, who is one of my faves to play with. His name's Ray, and he runs a lot of games for me. And I'm a problem player sometimes. So if he wrangles me, I hope I'm able to wrangle him. I've only ever run one other game for him, but he's a lot of fun. But I also have Crystal is coming in, who's my lead for the PIP system. I believe Carol, my editor, is coming in, and then the last player.
She's worked for me.
Yeah, and Carol works for everybody who's good.
Carol, yeah, Carol's good.
Shout out to Carol. But no, so that, and then I have one of my freelancers named Martin, who's going to be coming in, and it was funny because I literally just said, here's all the AMP material, make a character. And they're just like, well, what? Like,
that's
what material? What, like,
broad, Eloy? What?
It's very broad, and because, well, I mean, that's like that's what I do anyway for most of my games. I let you make your characters, and I'll make up something that'll go around what you made, not me just coming in with a generic adventure and just throwing it at whatever you made. Like, I want it to feel like it's part of your character's backstory and stuff, so I always do that. So I said, hey guys, you can do anything. The biggest thing, the funniest thing is I said, hey, is anybody thinking of taking mutations? And like, most of them came back. They were like, emphatically, no, none of us are taking mutations. And I'm like, darn, because those are fun. Those can be a lot of fun. But no, I was just like, do whatever you want. And I was like, nobody needs 5 teleporters. So talk amongst yourselves. Figure out who's doing what, and try to coordinate a little bit. I mean, for me anyway, like, teleportation, it's a fun power, but it also is exactly the power that just cuts any sort of tension. You know, like it's one of my least favorite powers for running, but it's one of my favorite ones to play. And I think it's because, well, and in fairness, it's because whenever I play a teleporting character, I don't use my power to cut all the tension. You know, like if you have a responsible player, then it can happen. But that's what ends up happening a lot of the time with teleportation. I'm like, well, there's a killer on the loose and all that stuff. Like, oh, I just go home. Like, oh, well, darn. Like, I guess there is no danger here because you teleported away, I guess. Like, you know, it's teleportation is a weird power.
The killer's in your back pocket.
Yeah, exactly.
And now he knows where you live.
Now he does because you teleported home. Do you have like an idea for like a power, like what kind of power in any games that you play like basically break the game and makes, you know, like, do you have anything like that happens
that I consider that break the game, like in my games, or just like that in general,
or anything? Just I'm talking more generally.
Well, I have my pet peeve powers that I hate seeing in play because I don't feel they bring anything valuable to the game. All they do is I have always hated, to this day, I hate mirror image from D&D because all it does is stretch out combat. Like if the bad guy has mirror image, all it does is make the combat longer.
Yeah,
that's all it does. So it just makes it take longer to deal with. You know, the win is farther away. Like I don't like a power like and you'll see this in my game designs. Like I specifically design as much as possible. I've probably missed the mark here and there, but I specifically design as much as possible that whenever you take an action, it is something that is going to move the story forward. Like, you know, situations where like fear, I hate fear effects with the way they've been done in D&D a lot. It's like, okay, well now I run away for 1d4 rounds, and then whatever that number was I rolled on d4, that's how many rounds it takes me to run back. So my character is just out of the combat, and if they needed my character to finish the combat, it just makes the combat longer. It's just irritating. Now fear, that makes you afraid and shaky, and you can't hit as well, and maybe you drop your favorite sword, or, you know, that's a different kind of that's a better effect. That's more fun.
That's the kind of fear I use in my game.
I try to avoid things like, if you get grappled, getting out of a grapple becomes part of your movement. You give up movement to do it. You never blow your whole action just trying to get out of a situation. I try to avoid that kind of stuff because that takes the action that could be moving the story forward and getting to a resolution and allowing you to do something cool, gets blown into like saving your butt. And don't get me wrong, there are people that love that, and there are people, and if you dig it, and the game system that you play has a lot of that in it, because there is a certain appeal to managing all of that, you know, and kind of like, okay, well, you know, do I get out of this grapple, or do I use a ranged attack from here and still, you know, and get squeezed to death by the roper? I
love how diplomatic you were with that. Like, this mechanic sucks. I mean, but if you like it, it's fine. But it really kind of sucks.
Yeah, not my problem. Like, if you're having fun with if you play a combat and it takes 3.5 hours because you spent, you know, a third of it dealing with all those sorts of things, and that was part of the challenge, was getting through all of that, and that's what you enjoy. That's what gets your rocks off. Fine. I just don't want to play it.
I feel like if you were to, you know, like if you have your I mean, I think it's also like the GM has to be held responsible for that sort of thing. It's kind of like why like a lot of my enemies don't have the ability to heal unless the players are defeating it faster than I need it to for the flow. Otherwise, nobody who you're fighting against knows how to heal. Like they have no healing magic, no potions or anything like that. And that's just because, like, you literally could be like, oh, well, we got him almost down. Well, with my turn, I'm going to use my healing potion of mastery. And now he's back all the way up. And it's just like, but we just fought him for like 45 minutes to get him down that low. You know, it's just like, yeah, but I'm an asshole GM. But the fear effect thing, it's like, if I am using a fear effect from my enemy, it's not like, if me running the game, I'm using a fear effect, it is to make you run away, and usually so that then also the bad guy can run away. It's never just so that I can just make you cower and run away, and then I can fight you as you run. Like, no, like that's not realistic.
Murder all your friends now that you're
it doesn't make
toughest
any
character
sense.
is gone.
Like, yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I
people
feel
in the
like
chat.
Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Some people in the chat mentioned something like telepathy, mind reading can get. Yeah, that can be problematic. Mind control. I hate mind control.
Yeah.
Like super powerful mind control. It's like, well, that power gets you out of any situation. You've got name a problem, and I can mind control my way out of it. All I have to do is find the character, the NPC that can handle that situation, and mind control them and make them do it for me. So I don't do mind control. I've got a supers game called Capers. There's no mind control in there.
Yeah. I have mind control in AMP as well, right alongside teleportation. But what I did with and I call it domination because is it called domination? No, it's called authority in AMP. So, but what I did with that one is that I made it that it's very kind of in the moment. Like, it's like I can be like, drop your weapon, and you'll just drop it. But it's not like I'm going to control you for days at a time and, do all like that's a little kind of ridiculous. So I tried to make it as game designers, taking on those challenges as part of the game design, atmosphere is I actually loved, AMP is I feel like AMP is one of my crowning achievements because I was able to make a game that is, for Super's game, largely balanced. Like, you can make a character that can do just about anything, and it's like none of it is especially game breaking. When I say teleportation breaks tension, that's any game, not necessarily just a Super's game, but in any situation where you can just teleport out of there, that destroys the game. But then it makes it hard for the GM, because as a GM, I don't want you to teleport. So I go something like, oh, well, there's something stopping you from teleporting. But then that's just me like nerfing your character for no reason. Cause like, if all your character can do is teleport, like I'm robbing you of your fun, so
yeah. And then the player's like, well, why did I make a teleporter?
Exactly. So
if I'm not going to get to do the cool teleportation.
Yeah. So it stinks.
It's a challenge
on both ends, The mind reading and telepathy can be actually, I found those to be more helpful. Telepathy specifically, because they are kind of different, telepathy and mind reading. So telepathy is more communication, which I've always found helps most things, because it'd be like, oh, you guys aren't in the same room, so you guys can't talk. It's like, oh, well, I have telepathy, so we can just have conversations all day. Mind reading is slightly different, but I think that's more like if you're in an espionage type kind of game, then mind reading can break that sort of game. Sort of the same way, like if it's very high stakes, very high tension, teleportation just ruins that. But if you were in a spy game and you had teleportation, that's actually pretty cool. Because you can teleport into a certain spot, pick the thing, and then get into the thing, grab the thing and teleport out. And it's like, if there's tension there can still be, because you have to be there to do the thing. You can teleport immediately away, but you still have to exist in that dangerous space to do the thing. So there's ways around it. I love it. This kind of turned into like GMing around problem powers discussion, which it didn't necessarily need to be.
Oh boy.
But no, but I'm very excited.
Well, we'll ramble all over the place.
Oh yeah, my gosh.
I'm looking forward to all of this. You and I what you and I just did there, where we just kind of went off on a tangent for 10 minutes about powers that we do and don't like in games. That's the type of thing you can expect from the I think probably from the show that Eloy and I are going to do every couple of weeks on Friday evening, called Nerd's Eye View. That is like, it'll be just it'll be just a bunch of stuff. Like we'll talk about a bunch of stuff. We might be talking about some of the stuff we're working on, things that people are playtesting, blah, blah, blah. But then also just about, things going on in the industry, things, like that, we might just get into a rant on talking about what superpowers suck or what, and
I assure you, probably will come with like,
we're giving everybody a taste of that.
Yeah, and we'll come with an agenda next time. We'll like actually know what we're going to be talking about. Today was more to test and to make sure that we could get this going. So
can we get a is there such thing as a virtual chess clock where we can have a clock up that we're both sharing and we're clicking the thing back and forth as we're
I'm sure there is.
Okay, we've done 20 minutes on
we just have to invent it. No, I think that could work, honestly. But aren't you going to be also streaming another show that you're doing with somebody else here as well?
Yeah. Alternating, like the thing with Eloy and I Nerds I Do is going to be the first and third Friday of each month at 8 p.m. Eastern. It's going to just be an hour long-ish, right? On the second and fourth Friday at 8 p.m., right? I'm going to be doing a show with Jess Geyer, who is one half of Wannabe Games. They made Moonpunk, which is a cyberpunk. It's like killing Nazis on the moon. It's pretty slick. And that's going to be called RPG R&D, where we're going to talk about like kind of GMing stuff. We're going to talk about indie game design in general, and then like some other stuff too. There'll be like a topic that we have for each episode where we'll be doing some other thing. We'll talk about some other thing, and we're going to have the plan is to have a guest. Again, a game designer or someone adjacent to design. It might be an artist, or somebody who works as a publisher, or it might be somebody who playtests games a lot, or that sort of thing, for each episode. And the plan right now, Jess and I are figuring out the first 8 episodes. The first 8 episodes we're going to talk in the GMing segment. We're going to talk about the basics of GMing. We're basically going to kind of because I see so often on Twitter and other social media, people talking about like they're getting ready to GM for the first time. And there's so much advice out there. You can go digging for it. But Jess and I are just going to put down and do 8 episodes of this segment is going to be, okay, from deciding that you're going to GM, what game are you going to GM, like what do you need to know kind of upfront to prepare yourself for, all the way to stuff like, how to, like just ideas and tips and thoughts on evocative descriptions and running interesting NPCs and dealing with problems at the table and everything. We're going to do like an 8 episode thing that's going to kind of take you through a whole bunch. And then after that, we'll just kind of jump all over the place.
And that'll be cool.
For different GMing topics.
And then on Friday night
with the help of course of the guests.
Right. And then at Friday night on 9, I'll be doing a reaction to them to say whether they're right or not on their GM advice. So no, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to actually.
There'll be a lot of caveats of like, this is just what I do. This is just what I think works. So that we don't get slammed too hard by Eloy. But then the GMing or the game design thing is going to be the same thing. We're going to do like 8 episodes of starting with concepting a game, coming up with the idea of for designing a game, what it's going to be about, all the way then to like the 8th episode. We'll talk a bit about production and distribution venues, like how you can get your game into people's hands. And these are going to be 20-minute segments or whatever, so it's not certainly going to teach you how to make a game from top to bottom, but it'll give you an idea of like what there is involved. Yeah. And then after that 8 episode series, then we'll start jumping around and hitting on a whole bunch of different stuff. And we might, we'll probably throw polls up on in some way, shape, or form and say like, okay, well, here's like 4 topics, like what do you want, what topic do you want to see the most? We'll try to hit on things that people are particularly interested in amongst the viewers. Like, do you really want to talk about like, okay, well, what does good play testing look like? How do you, if you want to use a licensed system, like a system that's out there that's already developed, like how do you pick the right one for the type of game that you want to play? And there's all sorts of different topics that we might dive into. So that's the plan for that. And then that 3rd segment, each episode will be like whatever, but it'll be like there'll probably be a lot of geek media kind of stuff. We'll talk about movies and books and comics and whatnot, but then often kind of from an RPG perspective of like, what kind of things can you borrow and kind of turn into things in your games or use as inspiration for your characters, or
that's how I watch.
What about running those types of games?
Like that's how I watch all.
That's well, yeah. I love what we do in the shadows, and I love it so much that I'm making a game that is basically what we do in the shadows, the game.
Exactly, and that's how
I'm
game design
going to
works.
borrow this from Nandor, and I'm going to borrow this from Laszlo, and I'm going to borrow this.
I love it. I can't wait to see that game because I love that show. I will totally. I want to be one of the Vampire Council though. One of the ones that didn't die.
Unfortunately, the game is set up. Basically, it's a sitcom game where you're roommates. So you're going to be one of the main characters, or a character like that who is like living in a house or an apartment with these other people, and most of you are monsters, and you're not very good at living in the modern world.
Of course not.
And it's a lot of failing. It's a lot of failing. The game has a lot of failing. It encourages you to fail.
Well, very cool. Well, we actually did get this up and running. We've chatted for about 30 minutes. It doesn't look like there's too many questions or anything in the chat, so we don't have anything to really jump on.
Full of people in the chat. So does anybody?
No, I mean, but thank you everybody who actually did show up.
We'll give everybody. Yeah.
We ended up with about 4 or 5 people in the Twitch chat, and then we've had 1 or 2 people in the YouTube chat, but for some reason they don't link up. So we're monitoring 2 different chat boxes here. So
here's the kicker, Eloy. That number that you're looking at, that's one number. But if I go up here as the actual owner of the Twitch channel and press this button, I get a list of all the usernames.
Mm-hmm.
There are 7 people. 7 users listed in the chat. It's different than that little number that's down there. And I don't know why that differs, but it does. I only recently discovered that. So there's actually more people than you think are in there. It might have something to do with who's active on the keyboard. Like if somebody's just passively watching, they might not show up in there. I don't know. I have to dig in and ask some Twitch streamer friends, like, what the heck is up with the difference in those numbers? I don't know.
Nerdarchy actually just said, "Hey guys," Nerdarchy being a really prominent YouTube channel, really awesome people over there. I've been a guest on their channel a couple of times. They're great people over there. So yeah. Welcome. Hey, how you doing? But yeah, honestly, that's like 30 minutes. I think we're good. So we're going to stop rambling. Next time we'll come with actual topics, which will be nice, I'm sure, for all of you. But thank you everybody who actually showed up to hang out with us and get a nerd's eye view.
Cool. This is what you can expect from the show, and from the other stuff on the channel. I'm
probably more structured. Yeah. This is not exactly what you'll expect.
No promises.
It will be at least 5% better next time.
That's fair to say. It will be 5% more structured.
5% better. All right. Bye, everybody. We'll see you later.
Bye.